Morning,
Hello.
Cindy.
Good morning.
The meeting is being live streamed. Got it.
Are you actually live?
We still have 3 more minutes.
Oh. Well, I had a little pop-up that said it's being live streamed. You must have done that too.
Yeah, I've got it too.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
That's
yes.
okay.
Get
And
ready.
live stream on YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah. Hey.
Ray, you had a haircut.
We're on the unsettled territory.
Yes,
Pretty sure.
Nice.
thank you. Couldn't stand the ear things here.
I know. I get to that point too. Oh, gotta go.
Hey, who's that movie star with the sunglasses on up in Oliver there?
Cindy, I haven't seen you for a long time.
I know. I'm around.
Morning, Michelle.
So apparently we're warmer than California today, Cindy.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah,
It's-
we're warmer than LA, I should say. That's
Oh my gosh.
yes. We're going to be 30 degrees or something, and
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit.
It was pretty hot yesterday.
Yeah, I'm still in Mexico, starting my transition. I'll be back in the US by the end of the month.
Oh, you're still in Mexico.
Yeah, and it got really, really hot down here, but
Uh-huh.
it's lovely now. It cooled off, so I'm grateful for that.
Well, that's good. Yes, I bet. Yeah, because when it's hot there, it's really hot, right?
Yeah, and there's a breeze, so today's beautiful.
Good.
That's where there's nothing in color. Slide to the right a little bit. And then you don't have to get.
Okay, sure.
Hello, Betsy.
Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Yes, happy Mother's Day.
Hi, Prue.
My daughter just arrived with her little girl and she got car sick on the way over. So
Oh,
Oh dear. I
she
used to get
arrived.
it all the
They've
time.
arrived and they're clean. They're in cleanup mode. So I've closed the door. and I'll surface in another 15 minutes when the air clears.
Okay.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yes. Hi,
Yeah.
Kathy.
Hi.
We hear you.
Oh, good.
But to tell people it's time to start.
that's not my business, is it?
Yeah, it is. You're in charge.
Oh, hey, folks, it's time to start.
So,
Hello, everybody.
Good morning. Can you hear me? Can I talk? Is it
Good
okay?
morning. Good morning. This day's a special day. Good morning. Good morning to us.
I think I'm pinned at the moment. Shall I start with a song?
Wait, I have to introduce you.
Oh,
Just here's
Yeah. I've been told here that because you haven't been with us for a while, Theda, I need to introduce you. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, White Rock and everybody else, wherever you may be. My name's Norm Meekin, and I would like to welcome back a person who you have seen and enjoyed many times before, Theda Phoenix. Take it away, Theda.
thank you. This is Light in You. Light in You. I see the light in you from my album. I know you're scared to be yourself. Sometimes this world can be so blind. But if we take the chance to trust, start to open up, we just might find that we are loved. And I see the light in you, shining with everything you do. Don't try to hide it no more. Can you hear it knocking at your door? what you really want. Tell me what you really need. Reveal all you feel. You will be received. You don't have to hide away all the things you really want to say. There are others who have felt this way. You're not alone. We are the same. Yeah, and I see the light in you, shining with everything you do. Don't try to hide it no more. Can you hear it knocking at your door? The door to your heart, the door to your heart. 'Cause we are all here to lift each other up. We are all here, we all need to belong. Know that we belong, and I see the light in you, see the light in me, see the light in you. I see the light in you, see the light in me, see the light in you. Thank you, everyone.
Wow. Thank you, Theda. What a pleasure to have you back again. I always love hearing your voice, your dulcet tones, your guitar playing. It's all wonderful. So in case you guys didn't know, Theda is a singer, songwriter, and intuitive song and sound channeler. She creates music for healing and transformation, touching people deeply with her angelic, transporting voice and shamanic vocal cords, accompanying herself with a variety of instruments. She performs meditative sound healing events, concerts, yoga workshops, private functions, and large inspirational conferences with international speakers, which have included Dr. Deepak Chopra. Wow. Her music inspires a deep connection to the heart and the spirituality of the human experience. Jill wrote all this, by the way, so thank you, Jill. That's wonderful. Theda has released several studio-produced albums in multiple genres, most notably Crystal Calm, a 60-minute crystal singing bowl, binaural studio recording with ethereal vocals and natural sounds of water, and her singer-songwriter album, Legacy. So once again, welcome, Theda. It's a pleasure to have you with us again today. A real treat.
Thank you so much. I will sing a intuitively improvised song in this moment, just to open together. Standing in my sacred truth, I open to that I am loved. I am loved unconditionally. Beyond all space and time, I am here as a child of the universe, just like the flowers and the bees. So I am ready for the new cycle. I am ready to embrace, and I give thanks and gratitude for this journey that I have walked. This path that weaves and winds, there is gratitude in my heart for the vessel I came through, the mother. This sacred vessel of life. I give thanks for all this life, this journey, this miracle filled with learning. I remember there is an eternal love beyond all space and time. This light connects us all, giving thanks for the miracle of this life. Thank you. You're
I
muted.
lost myself.
Not the first time.
What a wonderful song, Theda. Thank you so much. And folks, in case you didn't know it, that was an original song. So thanks for sharing with us today, Theda. Okay. If you haven't done so, Theda, maybe you could put your contact information in the chat. And also, while we're at it, that was wonderful once again. Can you tell us a little bit about what else you're doing these days?
Sure, I'm releasing a new meditation album. I do a lot of sound healing events where people get to come and really relax and feel very comforted and, relax the nervous system. You get to lay down and recline for over an hour.
Wow.
It's a beautiful, restorative sound journey. And I'm releasing a new meditation album as well. So those are a few things. And I'm also teaching intuitive singing as well. So I have a course coming up next week where people can open up, access their voices and the freedom, the playful freedom to create and use your own voice as a healing tool for yourself.
That's great. Thanks you so much for sharing that with us.
You're welcome.
In case you hadn't noticed, folks, I'm trying a new hairstyle, but it doesn't seem to be working. So excuse that. And we're a little bit out of order here, but that's okay. So I'll start off by saying, welcome everyone, after those two wonderful songs by Theda. And thank you for joining us today. As a representative for CSL White Rock, I recognize that I'm a settler on this land. I am grateful and honored to live and operate on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, and that other members of this gathering are working and living in the traditional land of many other Indigenous people. Thank the First Nations people who continue to live and care for Mother Earth. CSL White Rock is committed to the vision of a loving, vibrant world that works for all. We're committed to uplifting Indigenous voices, respecting traditional lands, and working with communities towards reconciliation. The science of mind philosophy is a holistic approach to spirituality that emphasizes the power of thought and the interconnectedness of all life. It provides a practical, non-dogmatic path towards personal growth and transformation. CSL White Rock is an inclusive spiritual community and learning center, and we honor many paths to the one. Our teaching is based on 4 cornerstone beliefs. 1, there is one life. It is the source of all life and all things. 2, we are spirit having a human experience. Number 3, my favorite. I think about it all the time. I have to. Nothing outside of us needs to change in order for us to be happy. 4, we're here to walk each other home. Okay, we're down to announcements, I think. Yeah. But we were out of order with the songs, but that was fine. First announcement, Friday, May 19th at noon, a spiritual deep dive with Reverend Tamara on Zoom. 2, next Sunday, May 21st, is our potluck Sunday. Join us for food and conversation after our hybrid gathering. 3, Sacred Circle, Wednesday, May 24th on Zoom, 10:30 to 11:30 a.m. If you have not attended before, please register for a Zoom link. Number 4, Sunday, May 28th, after our gathering, Reverend Tamara and the practitioners will continue to explore the first 4 chapters of Science of Mind on Zoom and in person. Everyone is welcome. 5, quick start course, Changing Your Thinking, Change Your Life, Basic Principles and Background of Science of Mind. Tuesdays, May 30th to June 20th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. in person and on Zoom. Number 6, save the date, Sunday, June 11th. This is the big deal, folks. The installation of Rev Tamara at Elgin Hall from 4 till 6 p.m. Light refreshments to follow. Mark it on your calendar. Number 7, all information on courses, workshops, and events, including Zoom links, can be found on our CSL White Rock website. And lastly, our practitioners are available to provide you with prayer support. Contact information is prax@csl/whiterock.com. And if you wish to go deeper, our practitioners are available for practitioner sessions. And now I'd like to welcome my lovely wife, Georgia, and wish her a very happy Mother's Day. So lovely to have you here with me, dear.
Hi there. If everybody wants to get comfortable. Yeah, just get yourself comfortable. Begin by centering yourself and putting both feet on the floor, hands, and relaxing your lap, and notice the noise around you and within you. And just begin to breathe slowly and reflect on what the inner and outer noise covers. You can close your eyes or have soft eyes. Just listen carefully to the kind of noise you create and carry. Just breathe deeply. Try to quiet the inner noise as I begin. In, out, deep, slow, calm, ease, smile, release. In Buddhism, it is said that in, out means breathing in. I know that I'm breathing in and breathing out. I know that I'm breathing out. That's the whole thing. It's a simple recognition of what is happening. An in-breath, an out-breath. During this time, all thoughts stop. Now I'm going to speak the following words from Sylvia Hartman called The Child in the Meadow. So just continue to breathe and let my words sink into the background, or simply vanish as you breathe in, breathe out. Imagine on this day that you're standing in a place, in the mountains, in the sunshine. It's in the morning and the air is very clear and very bright. And you can see for miles with the gray mountains rising up behind you, right into the clouds. Their ancient peaks are covered in eternal snow. The valley is lying before you, all the way over the forests and meadows, following a shiny river with your eyes until you see a silver shimmer of the sea beneath a perfect blue sky at the far horizon. And now you notice a path that gently winds downwards into the forest. And you start to walk downwards past the rocks and the little mountain flowers, stepping lightly and confidently, for you are here and you are always young. And as you breathe deeply and easily, you start to descend to the tree line. Here there are smaller trees and they become larger. And as you walk further and further down into the forest, it becomes even more impressive, even more majestic, deep and golden green, even more still, as though you're entering a vast living cathedral. The ground is soft here with soft green moss and old brown needles from the ancient trees, and the air is moist and deeply fragrant. A sense of green is all around you, old life, powerful life, and you draw this beauty and strength into yourself as you walk gently downwards. And then ahead you see a shimmer of gold and spring, greens, little flecks of dancing orange and blue and red as you enter into a meadow. A secret meadow here in the center of the ancient forest, a world all of its own, entirely protected by the trees that stand their silent singing guard. And here the sun shines warm and golden, and here the grass is young and the finest, most delicious green, as soft as silk beneath your feet. And many, many flowers, delicate and beautiful, dance in the grass. Small birds sing, and butterflies seem like fairies, dance in the splendor here, as you can sense and scent and hear a little brook not far away. Ahead, you see a small outcrop of smooth, warm, ancient rock. And on this rock sits a child. They are turned away from you, but you can tell what they are wearing and what their hair is like, how old they are, and you recognize this child. For this is a child like once that you were, a special child. And we are here to meet this child today, here on this special day, here in the most enchanted meadow where all is beauty, safety, and love. The brook lies between you and the child who is still sitting on the rock. So you stop and you send a thought of welcome, and the child turns and you can see their face. And so you smile and you wave. The child is surprised to see you. Perhaps they were alone here for a long time or forever. The child is not exactly scared, but clearly doesn't know quite what to do with you. So you kneel down and you put your hands into the water of the brook. Cool and so alive it is. It sparkles in your hands, pure energy. And from this water, which is in truth is living energy, complete and absolute. So now you fashion a gift for the child with your hands and with your heart. Form the water that is malleable and warm into a shape that takes a form that takes a feeling and takes a color and another and becomes more real and real until it's just a special toy just for this child. You're holding it in your loving and creative hands. Full of wonder at this gift of love, and bless it one more time. And now extend your hands and let the toy fly gently up and across the brook and send it to the child still sitting on the rock, watching you with focus and with concentration. The child captures the toy and they take it and they hold it close to their heart. And then the toy dissolves in the light and melts into the child's dear heart. Here is the moment now of transformation as a light begins to shine. Now the child rises and they look like an angel, full of life and full of light. It's a wonder to behold. The child then comes to you across the brook and holds out its hands, and you take them small and cool, yet so full of life and love, into your own. This now feels as though a circuit is complete, and light and love and life rush into you, rush through you, and you too now are transformed. So you can dance together, whirling and spinning around and around. And then comes the moment where you each hold each other close and closer and more closely still. And then you merge into each other. Now there is only one child dancing in the meadow, and it's you, because you are perfect, joyous, and so alive, and it tingles through your body, resonates all through your mind, and you embrace the meadow, the forest, the mountains, the rivers, the valleys, and the sea, and you love it all and own it all, and you take it all. All is yours now and forever. So you just breathe in this wondrous day, tingling through your body, embracing all that has occurred, drifting and dreaming, bringing yourself back down from the meadow, through the forest, back, coming back into this room that you can feel awake and refreshed and renewed, knowing that it is a good thing. Please join me in saying, and so it is. Namaste. And I would like to introduce Theda. Please join us for another song.
There is a child that lives deep within this heart. There is a love so innocent. There is Thank you so much. That was spontaneously created, inspired by the meditation.
Nice. What a talent you are, Theda. It's such a pleasure to have you with us. You're a true blessing to us. Thank you very, very, very much. Much appreciated. Okay, it's now my pleasure to introduce and welcome back our guest speaker today, who's been with us a number of times. I always enjoy her, and I'm sure you will, the Reverend Savanna Noelle. What an extraordinary person she is. As a representative of the international CSL global community, her first trip at the age of 20 was to the Ukraine. Was that last week, Savanna?
Thanks for that.
The country she has returned to many times in various capacities. Reverend Savanna is deeply grounded in this teaching, sharing her wisdom, knowledge, and love through leading retreats, teaching, and speaking in communities throughout the US, Canada, and the world. Her passion and work in global ministry has nourished her soul. Reverend Savanna lives in Seattle, Washington. Please join me in welcoming the lovely, vivacious, and talented Savanna Noelle.
Thank you so much. Yay! Okay, so I have to admit, I haven't been on Zoom in a really long time. So we keep getting to finesse our skills when we're in person versus when we're here. So for all of you who are willing, I would love it if you turn on your camera, even just for me to say hello for a moment. And if not, that's okay too, but I want to know who I'm talking to. And for those watching online, hello, it's so good to be with you and to see your faces. Some of you, there you are. Awesome. Yeah, I love this community. And I love being with you in person. Hopefully that happens again soon. Theda, thank you so much for that beautiful song. You took me to a whole nother place. Actually, Georgia's meditation prepared the way, took me into nature, and then you kind of carried it forward. And so here we are now, as I go into this talk. And it's interesting that we're talking about the topic for today, and I'll tell you what that is just in a moment. But it would be remiss of me if I didn't say to all of you and those watching, Happy Mother's Day to all who stand in the place of mom. I miss my mom today. She's in Colorado, and honoring not just moms today, but every day, because it's one of the most incredible, I would say, jobs in the whole world. Or not jobs, but what would we want to call it? Honors. So with that, because we have this format and because it is what it is, I often say to people, you know, you might want to take notes. You might, if that's your thing, you might want to listen. I'm one of those people when I'm listening to a talk online, I like to walk around. It helps me process a little bit more. And then, of course, for us who are just sitting here together, watching and looking at each other, that is beautiful as well. So the topic today that I was given is called Unlearning the Fear of Darkness, the Light Within the Shadows. And when Reverend Tamara first gave this to me, I laughed, I giggled because she didn't know this, but years and years ago, back in 2015, the Science Mind magazine asked me to be on the cover, and they asked me to write an article for them about my experiences living in Egypt during the Arab Spring. And the title of my article, but also what then became a speaking tour, I launched a workshop that went all over the United States, was called The Sacred Amidst the Shadows. And it was all about how do we find the sacred, the light in the midst of darkness, in the midst of the shadow. And so I laughed at that because I thought, well, Tamara, I've been talking about the shadow work for a very long time now. And so we're going to dive a little bit deeper into that today. I start with the questions that for you to just ponder. Are you going through something right now? Are you wondering which path to take? Do you have an important decision you need to make? Maybe you have an ache in your heart, or something that's really bothering you or annoying you. Or maybe you're wondering what's next in your life. So first things first, what I want to say is whatever's being presented to you is to keep going. We often get to learn in this teaching to not only see the joy and the love and the harmony, but to be with the discomfort, to be with the fears, to be with hope and trust, to be with the unknown, which is Ernest Holmes talks about often, that it is the creative soil for so much newness and life, to be with the worry and the anxiety that we might be feeling, to be with our joy, and to be with our hearts in whatever moment you are called right now to step into what might be a new way of being. I feel like it's in our lowest state, or it could be in our state of enlightenment, that we still must stay the path. We must keep going, and we must stay humble. In Science of Mind, we say we treat and we move our feet. Some would say we chop wood, we carry water, until we see a demonstration come about. We pray without ceasing. And even with enlightenment, we shed another layer, another layer. We're always being asked to become in touch with our humility, with our ego death, with what some would call the descent. And what I am reminded is that darkness is just the absence of light. I find it kind of interesting to be talking about the darkness when we have so much sun right now, which, as we know, winter was brutal for many of us this year. And so for this next, 15, 20 minutes, I just want to take you on a journey with me, with an open heart, with new eyes, that you might find a pearl of wisdom, of inspiration from this, from something that you hear in this message today. And it might be subtle, and it might be something that you walk away from and you say, I'm not sure what I took from that. And then it comes to you. And I also want to talk about something that I think is really important, which is initiation. Initiation. I've said this before, but I still think it's relevant now, is that I think that we as a culture, as a world, as the collective consciousness of humanity is going through a great initiation right now. And some call it the hero, the heroine's journey. It's also been called the hero's crossing, the great waters. It's been called, climbing the impossible mountain. It's confronting those dragons. It's facing the armies of Mara, who personifies the forces of evil. But what it really means, I think, is that we are risking the life that we have known to discover something new about ourselves, no matter how old we are, no matter what we've been through. The New Thought teaching is so beautiful, and that it gives us permission to notice and to see that we're always being made new, that we are refining, we are deepening, evolving our consciousness, and we can always start exactly where we are, regardless of the condition. And the thing about the unknown is that this initiation, and this is what is so key about this, is that this initiation that is happening will open before us only to the extent that we courageously run towards it. The unknown in this initiation is that it will only open to us to the extent that we courageously turn towards it. And the challenge for many of us, I think, is when we're faced with discomfort or pain or struggle or confusion and fear, we run from it, we hide, we leave, we abandon ship, we bury our heads in the sand. We say, I don't want to feel this right now. I want it to go away. And we use our coping mechanisms to not have to feel whatever it is before us. But in initiation, we face our fears and we courageously walk into a new territory. And this is what happens when we up-level our consciousness. Many of us know this by seeing when we first discovered this teaching, when we first discovered New Thought, when you first discovered that you were the common denominator in all of your life and everything that was out picturing in your life. There was both responsibility in that, and there was probably terror and fear. But what you probably noticed is that you were shedding a life that was no longer serving you to step into something new. And it's what happens when we up-level our consciousness and we outgrow the life that we once had. It happened in the pandemic. It happens with a job change, with a loved one who transitions. It happens when we go through a divorce or when we are going into retirement and our kids are grown. It happens when we are walking into a new phase of our lives. And the goal is to look at whatever change or transition is happening and to trust that that is the site of our own awakening. So it is through the opening, the initiation, the fire, the difficulty, that grace as we know it can come in so that we can know another reality. And sometimes it's hard to know the other reality when we're in the dark. It is this reality, though, that we teach about, which is that there is a divine order to things. The divine presence is weaving the tapestry of our lives of joy and ecstasy and grief and change. And the only way is through. Whatever you're going through in this initiation, we get to give birth to ourselves. And I think that I personally have had the most growth in my life through the fall. Most of us, I think, have, through the descent. You know, faith is easy when everything's going great, when everything's going really well. But the most growth of my life has happened in the struggle. We can see, even in this organization of Centers for Spiritual Living in the macrocosm, that the very structure of our organizational model is changing. We can see it in our community here and in the world of science of mind, that communities are shifting and changing. The ways that we've come to commune with each other is different. It's changing. And our consciousness around scarcity and lack and limitation is shifting, right? Churches within our movements during the pandemic, many of them had to close because of financial challenge. So what it means is that we have the opportunity to be more creative, to be more available to our good, to our resources, and to continue to use the law to attract those new resources and ways of providing spiritual food for people. It means that, and this is a word some are starting to recognize more so in our movement, it means that we must become more relevant, that there is a relevancy to our teaching. It's just so many haven't found it. So what if there was a new way? What if there's a new story or a new possibility that is wanting to emerge in your life from a darkness or from your desire for things to be different, for newness? We all know that feeling when we were growing up of, at least I do, you know, every year before the school year, my mom would go and we'd go get new clothes. And it was always that really fun and exciting feeling of newness, of having new clothes. That is the energy that we can hold in mind. You know, sometimes within New Thought, it's hard for us to move beyond the conditions, to move from lack and scarcity to knowing that our needs are met and more, to envisioning the kind of life in the future that we want without this heaviness of the world that is pushing in on us. I have found over the last few years, and I'm sure many of you relate to this, is there's a certain amount of grief that we can hold. And some of us went through it, this grief fatigue, you know, collectively. And I've been trying to find the words to describe it, of the kind of change that we've all been through, the kind of grief that we've been through. And I think it's known as ambiguous loss. We're still trying to wrap our brains around it. It's this emotional ache that never goes away from an old hurt, from a loss that we haven't fully grieved. It's unexplainable loss, it's uncontrollable loss, it's forced isolation for many of us. It's not having closure. It's job loss, unexpected grief. It's having to start over, which I am so familiar with. For me, some of you know, it was a tuberculosis diagnosis and a bad bout of COVID. It was many people in my life dying from COVID and dying from things that were just so tragic. An ex-love of mine who went missing over a cliff in Northern California, a dear friend of mine who was killed a week after I spoke to him. And then for me, it was a job loss, going completely broke, and then 9 months of rebuilding a life that I thought was starting to soar. And I know that I'm not the only one who went through all of this, you know, in the last 2 years. And I don't say all of this for pity or to stay as a victim, but it's really important for us to see where we have been, because I want to know that I am mourning the living things properly. How do we mourn the living things properly? How do we mourn ambiguity? How do we believe in ourselves and life again? So the fall, the descent, and its subsequent humility can be seen as another form of blessing. But we have to acknowledge that and ask it, what is this here to teach me? What is this ambiguous loss here to teach me? And as we give birth to our new self, so that expansion and the contraction, and then the expansion, the rising and the falling through life, we inevitably are asked to then let go. And I am reminded a few weeks ago, Jill came in with the most beautiful meditation. I will never forget it, because I sat in your sanctuary and I cried. It was all about the ability to just surrender when you don't know what else to do, and to just let go. Suzuki Roshi summed up the Buddhist teaching in 3 simple words: not always so. I love that. Not always so. Conditions always change. We come down from, the summit, and once we have experienced ecstasy in our life, then we have to do the laundry. Meaning we can have really high highs in life and feel like we've made it to some awakened place, and life is joyful and amazing, and life will still ask us to do the laundry, to chop wood, to carry water. You do not have to get to some destination to prove that you are worthy of a beautiful, successful life. And so when we don't know what to do, when we don't know what path to take, as I said at the very beginning of this talk, we keep going. We chop our wood, we carry our water. Last January, when I lost my job, everything around me felt urgent, and it also felt like quicksand. It is those times of like the 11th hour when we want to reach in and find this teaching. And it was a struggle for me to get there. I went completely broke in a very short period of time, and I was angry. I was mad at my spiritual community. I was unsure how I was going to get through it. And so what did I do? I chopped wood and I carried water. I went and got a job that I felt, was different at a cocktail bar. I was the oldest person on that restaurant staff with no experience in this field. Part of me felt embarrassed because of how much work I had done to get myself in my life to where I am now. I felt a little shame. I was angry that I had come this far, and for what? To just fall? Like, God, where were you? Why did you abandon me? And then again, about, let's say, a month and a half ago, I lost my job again. And they had layoffs because our positions were being outsourced to another country. But this time, I looked at it very differently, because I knew that I had outgrown this role. And I knew that, I could go and wallow in that, or I could up level. And so this time I decided that the prayer was going to look different. I was not going to confront this with struggle, but I was going to hold a mantra for myself of ease and grace and surrender and trust. And that's exactly what I did. So I knew the end of that position was coming, and I continued to treat and move my feet. And every single day I had a mantra that the perfect aligned position and role comes to me easily and effortlessly, that it drops right into my lap. And I swear to you, my position ended on March 31st. And within a week, I had a job. I had applied to one place, and there was actually no job description. It was literally the mission of this company. And I was so inspired by it, of working as a mindset and life coach for teenage girls going through social anxiety and challenge. That's all there was the mission for this company. And it was the only company I applied to. And it was the only interview I had. And then come to find out, as I started digging into the material, all of the curriculum for this program for these teen girls is all science of mind. And so the gifts from that experience, even though it's brand new, they're still coming. And so you do what you have to do, and trusting God, honestly, back then seemed far away because the pain of what was going on continued to pile on. And sometimes it's really hard to see the light in the darkness. But I kept putting one foot in front of the other. A colleague of mine said to me during that time, over a year ago, he said, you might want to try not to hold on so tightly. You might just need to get on the floor and just surrender. Just pray, over the altar, give it over to the altar and let it go. Our New Thought teaching is more than just principle and esoteric ideas. It is a continual practice. And what I'm noticing more and more is that it is really just the groundwork. It is the basis from everything sacred, mundane, spiritual, and holy. And it is the basis for transmuting our pain and darkness into love and transformation. And what I'm finding now is that you could be in this teaching for 20-something years and you still have more to see. It is refinement. It is like that polished stone, And in some of our greatest vulnerability, we come close to the selfless mystery of life. Because we all need periods of fallow time, of being drawn closer to the earth. It's as though, and this is what the pandemic did, something in us slows us down and it calls us back. And out of that time, a deepened knowledge and a beauty can emerge from it. It has been said that if we don't honor our unfinished tasks, then our karma will definitely remind us. Our unresolved conflicts will rise, that unhealed stuff will show up, and we will be forced to face what we have not faced in ourselves. Because life will always insist that we work these things out. And all of this is to say that our falling, the descent, needs to be honored along with the rising. And what comes from these moments and all of the ambiguity, I think, is compassion. It is a deeper walk with God, with our mortality. It is an appreciation for what our suffering has taught us. And then we get to just witness, and we see it right now in spring. We witness and recognize that abundance is all around us. Nature, that great metaphor, shows us again and again that destruction is part of life and that grace is always present. There are no isolated patterns. Because the patterns that we see in the universe, they call them fractals. These things repeat. It's the swirls on our fingertips. If you look at them, they are unique patterns. It is a fern. It is a head of broccoli. It is the universe. The universe itself spirals. These patterns at different scales. Your body, our body is an entire whole water system. We look at the earth with formations and moving water, and we are one of them. And when we think of it from this way, it provides the contrast to the worldview of hierarchy, because we see and remember that we're all interconnected. We work with contradiction all the time. And even though we are interconnected, we know we are one with life, we are so deeply rooted, yet we're changing all the time. And so the question that I ask you again is, what if this way is not the only way? What if there's a new story and a new possibility that is wanting to emerge in your life? What if you've outgrown where you are? So the setback or the problem is actually your greatest blessing. What is that theme or story that you keep telling yourself and everyone you meet? Last year, one of the things I learned was that we don't get to know why people choose to physically leave the planet, why they go, sometimes why they end a relationship, a friendship, a partnership. We don't get to control estrangement or, this kind of loss with no closure. But how we choose to honor and love ourselves in those moments is the determining factor that keeps hope and that inner power alive. I believe we are resilient, and we've seen it throughout the centuries. We've read about and witnessed bravery in insurmountable situations. And for me, bravery means being loyal to myself. It means that I continue to tune out the world and tuning into my spirit. It means that we launch forward anyway. It means that we stay in our sorrow and see that my own sorrow and your own sorrow could be a time of darkness, but it's also holy ground. There's a reverence for it. Oscar Wilde said, "Where there is grief, there is holy ground." There's a book too that I love. Francis Weller wrote a book called The Wild Edge of Sorrow that says that grief offers a wild alchemy that transmutes suffering into fertile ground. Grief ripens us and pulls us from the depths of our souls, what is most authentic. Some people are terrified of that and unable to hold it. In my life, I know that some of the greatest teachers I ever had in ministerial school and my training were those working with me through deep trauma, through inner child work, painful emotions. And the reason was because they had the capacity to hold space and to know my truth despite the appearance. Find those people in your life. Find the practitioners here who hold that kind of space for you. We know this scientifically, that the brain under stress operates under what is called the law of least effort. It likes to operate under autopilot. And so when we are in autopilot, it repels. So we might deny what's actually going on. We might reduce its significance because it's too much. We might search for what else can be done in autopilot for a sense of control, for a daily routine. Ernest Holmes, the founder of this teaching, the science of mind, tells us to not focus on the world of effect when it is affecting us, but to come back to that still, calm place within us that guides and directs. When we are in our darkest moments, when all we can see is the condition and we want to see a different reality, I say, can we just stay with it? In a world of uncertainty and chaos, the grief just adds an extra darker color, maybe, of contrast and texture. But it is the practice of welcoming everything that comes to us as an invitation into our experience, because it is that initiation that I'm talking about. Like, what is this teaching us? What is this teaching me? Psychotherapist and neuroscience expert Linda Graham reveals that how bonding and belonging nourish resilience. She relates how our sense of connection affects our ability to regulate our internal states during crisis and stress. The prices of being seen, understood, and accepted by an attended empathic other engenders a sense of genuine self-acceptance, a feeling that we are profoundly okay. And so what she argues is that genuine community heals the soul. And this is what we have right here with this community. People in our lives, and find those people who can hold space for us when we are in the midst of not remembering who we are, and genuine community heals our souls. I want to close with a quote by Dr. Alexandra Solomon. She says, "Although it may feel paradoxical at first glance, what I know for sure is that we are stronger and braver when we are able to tolerate ambivalence. Holding on to competing truths bolsters our ability to be resilient in the face of stress." So let us just turn within for a prayer now. So just taking that holy breath, giving thanks for this power, this presence, this one life, this infinite intelligence that is right where we are. It is the very nature of the universe. It is love itself. It is the greatest power there ever was and ever will be. And that power and that presence is living and breathing and moving itself in ways that are so magnificent and miraculous in, through, and as each and every one of us here and each and every one watching. And what I know is that that power and that light is present in the midst of the condition. It is there pulling us along for that vision that wants us to evolve, to uplift, to up-level consciousness so that we might remember the truth of whose and who we are. And so thinking for a moment, or feeling into your heart space for a moment, something that might be difficult for you. Releasing that stress and that confusion, releasing any fear or scarcity or lack, releasing anxiety and loss. We come back to the awareness and the remembering that everything is truly working together for good, that there is an organization happening, that there is a divine pattern that is unfolding, that there is grace and ease and healing and comfort coming to our aid here and now, that there are resources and opportunities and people that come into our lives to aid us in whatever capacity is needed here and now. And so we give thanks for it. We give thanks for the teaching. We give thanks for what it is that our grief or our darkness or our uncertainty is here to teach us. And we know that we are better humans for it. And so for this prayer and the more, for the prayer that is in your heart today, I know it is already done. And so I release it now into the activation of love itself. And I know it does not come back void. And we just give so much gratitude and thanks for it. And together, let us just say, and so it is. Ashe and Amen. Thanks, everybody.
Wow, Savanna, what an inspirational talk. I know if that had been me going through what you have gone through in the last year, I would have spent the entire year writhing on the ground in self-pity. But you got yourself up and you did something about it. So you've proven to everybody, I think you're a survivor and you're a winner. Congratulations. And thanks again for such an inspirational talk. It was really, really wonderful. I wonder if we could see if there are some questions and insights. We'll check the chat here if you have a minute for that. Give people a chance to respond. That was really something. I didn't realize you had gone through so much in one year. My God. A waitress. You were a waitress for a while.
I was. I try not to wallow in all that.
I'm sure everybody has done that kind of work in their lifetime. I'm sure. I've worked in a pulp mill. I've worked in a shipbuilding yard. It's just something else again.
Yeah, many
We
gifts.
all do what we have to, right? And then you laugh about it later.
I have great respect for that industry.
Yes, yeah. Let's see. Janet Pope says, I find when I keep going in hard times, the next step often ends up showing up, which is exactly what you did. You just keep going, right? And then the next one shows up. Yeah.
I would love to know what you took from this message. If there was something that was relevant or inspiring to you, or something that stuck out to you, like, I want to remember that. Anyone?
Wait, oh, here. Janet says, not running away from hard times. I guess you can see this too, can you, Savanna?
I can, yeah. Not right.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. Healing in community. Yeah. It's super important. And I know that was a real struggle when the pandemic was around. Trusting that there is a plan. You can all speak, or write it in. Yeah, I think that, surely that's also difficult sometimes because we want to know what the plan is. That's why we have to trust. Yes, you can unmute and speak your question if you have, or just whatever touched you, something that you might want to ponder more.
Well, I am, for one, I'm full of admiration for you, Savanna, for what you managed after that hardship of losing your job and then losing the other job and finding jobs in between to keep you going. So, and you're still smiling, kiddo. You're still smiling. So good for you. You're an inspiration to everybody.
These things build the tapestry of our lives, right? I don't I don't think that I would be able to coach and support the people that I do if I hadn't been through it, right? It's how we cultivate compassion and empathy for others, because we've walked through it ourselves.
Yeah. You can't talk the talk unless you've walked the walk, right?
I love that, Judy. Don't think of what I lack, but of what I have. I feel guilty praying for what I want. Why guilty?
Yeah, you should never feel guilty about praying.
Expectancy creates an energy, and that energy creates form and what it is that we desire. And so we want to pray for what we want, not what we don't want. Otherwise, we get what we don't want. Right? Anyone else?
Let's just give it a minute and see. Where are you off to next, Savanna?
I don't know. That's I guess the big news for me next is I'm a keynote speaker at one of our conferences in Big Sky, Montana in September. So I'll be there for a week. And then of course our Sillamar conference, I will be speaking there.
Will you?
Cell events team as well. Yeah. So
Oh,
Monterey, California. It's going to be a beautiful week as well.
cool. I gather there's quite a number of people from CSL White Rock going to be there.
Yes, I heard that. I'm so excited.
And
It's one-
Georgia's excited. She managed to get a flight. She's so excited.
It's one of the most magical places I've ever been. Ernest Holmes gave his famous sermon by the sea there in the chapel, which you can all sit in. And there's a sacredness in Monterey and on that beach where he stood that it's unexplainable. It's what I call a numinous experience, to just be on those grounds. So if you have the opportunity to go, try to do it. Sillamar is the name of it.
How many people typically go to this?
It
know?
varies year to year. We've been doing it for 20 years and we've had a pretty long break. So everyone is super excited to come. I would say anywhere from 200 to 400 people.
Wow,
Depends on the year. Yeah,
that sounds really exciting.
it's really great.
Oh, okay. I'm being told to be quiet now and stop because Theda has to leave soon. So thanks again, Savanna. Great having you with us again. A real pleasure. Okay, it's time to acknowledge our gratitude for this loving community. As you may know, CSL White Rock is a nonprofit, and as a nonprofit society, we depend on one another to support and grow our community. There are a few ways that you can support CSL White Rock through donating online at cslwhiterock.com/donate or in person at our in-person gatherings. Take a moment and pause in the feeling of gratitude, knowing that gratitude unlocks the gateway to abundance. You may wish to join me in putting your hand on your heart and affirm with me, I know that by giving blesses and multiplies all that I have and all that I give and all that I receive. And so it is. And two's going to put up the slide, I think, about the ways to give, which I don't see. So
I
just
already
highlight
did
the-
it. Now why you reading it?
Oh, I'll read it. You want me to read it too?
No, I put it up while you were reading it.
Oh, did you? Oh, I was so busy talking, I didn't see it. Sorry. Okay, I'm going to stop, and we'll stop the recording, and we'll welcome Theda back for her last song. Thanks again, Theda. Lovely to see you today. A delight as always.
Thank you. You too. Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great. It's great hearing all of the chatting and happy to be here with you all today. That was a wonderful talk. This is my butterfly song. We are children in this universe when we allow our innocence to lead, chasing butterflies across the sky, dancing through the fields. the tree with such a steady contemplation. He holds a secret deep inside. It's the truth of transformation. And there we are, running through the fields, soaring with the wind, gliding on the breeze. You are free. When the time is right, the caterpillar weaves itself into a cocoon. We cannot rush the process, don't want to break him out too soon. For after the struggle you will see that butterfly flying free. There we are, running through the fields, soaring with the wind, gliding on the breeze. We are free. We are just the same as that caterpillar in this human game. We may look like an ordinary one, but don't be fooled. We are all children of the sun, waiting till the time is right to spread our wings, break free, and take flight. We feel the love, for it is what we are made of. So let the light break through, as one by one we all awaken to the truth. We are one. There we are, running through the fields, soaring on the breeze. Oh, we are free. We are free. So free.
Wow.
Thank you so much.
You're on mute.
No.
Song is about going through the transformation of the dark times and coming out, emerging newly.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Theda. A delight to have you again. Thanks for being here and sharing all your talents. Wonderful. So maybe we can get everybody to unmute. I have to apologize. I think I've babbled on talking to people, but I enjoyed it. I hope you did too. So let's unmute. Love and blessings to everybody. And let's say goodbye to each other. And have a lovely Mother's Day, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.